This show is sponsored by Alicia's Pillows and Things. Check out the Facebook page, Alicia's Pillows and Things, where you will find home decor you will not be able to resist at prices anybody can afford. Check out the pillows and stools of your favorite sports teams. Maybe you want a set of your kid's favorite cartoon or movie character. You can also get full body and neck pillows as well. Log on to ngscsports.com and go to the Alicia's Pillows and Things tab on the homepage to complete your order. It makes a great gift for Christmas at an affordable price. NGSC Sports. We never stop.
You're listening to NGSC Sports Radio. Hear us live on ngscsports.com, where you can get awesome analysis for all things sport. Or check out our podcasts on iHeartRadio, Spreaker, iTunes, TuneIn, and much more. For our latest videos, head to NGSC Sports YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter at NGSC Sports and like us on Facebook. NGSC Sports. We never stop.
Word to it, bruv.
Toy.
Blood fan, blood fan.
Fam. Oh my God.
Blood fan. Blood fan, blood fan.
Oh, fam, blood fam.
We went and we spent all this money on attackers, and we need your defenders, and you give us David Luiz. Blood fan, blood fan. What has David Luiz going to do that Mustafi can't? He's shite. Blood fan, blood fan. He's shot, blood fan.
Oh, man. Arsenal TV never disappoints, I'll tell you that much.
Blood fan.
I will tell you that for free.
That said, David Luiz is shite, so...
Yeah,
I mean, they're not wrong.
No, of course not. They're not wrong. It's just...
They're them.
Yeah, they are them.
They're them.
Ugh.
Oh, blood fam.
Oh, fam blood. Welcome, blood fams and fam bloods, to episode 277 of the A Foreign Affair podcast. My name is Edward Green, joined as always by McCullen Crime, West Bradshaw. A big week of action to get to here from the Premier League, with one of the big matches so far of the season. Not that it was close, but it was, quote unquote, a big match. We'll also have the League Cup draw that took place because matches finished up. Now we got the teams that are in Europe. They will be diving into the competition that everybody is dying to win, or just dying in. So we'll have that. We don't have the draw yet for the Champions League finals, or the group stage finals, but we do know who the teams are that will be representing them after the final matches the last 2 days. So we will have that as well. Of course, a little bit of news and notes to watch for, and maybe So Elite Raw, maybe. I don't know. That sounds like a no.
I might have like one piece of news.
Okay.
I literally haven't even thought about it. So.
The most So Elite Raw. Well, we'll get to that all in due time. Don't you worry. As always, the podcast is presented by NGSC Sports at ngscsports.com. We never stop. As well as Alicia's Pills and Things. Hey, I've been told by reliable sources that it's college football season.
Boom.
There you go. And there have been games that have been played. Things are happening. It's great. It's just absolutely fantastic. And if you're a fan of one of the college football teams, maybe you're like West Bradshaw and you're a Miami Hurricane fan, or you're a someone else fan. So hey, we got a lot of fans out there. The point is, go to Alicia's Pillows and Things. Tell her to get you the hookup on your pillows and other furniture accessories that can have your team's logo on it. Get it while it's hot, because God knows it's still hot here in Eastern North Carolina. So go out and do that, although it wasn't too bad today. Go out and get that at Alicia's Pills and Things. You can find her on Facebook, and you can also find some great deals over at ngscsports.com. So again, check that out. That is Alicia's Pillows and Things on the Facebook. So with that, An email has just come through. Cool. So we're going to dive right into the Premier League with matches we're not really going to talk about. Hey, Aston Villa, 2-0 winners. I thought they were going to be pretty bad, and they're doing okay, I guess. Aston Villa, though, do get the 2-0 win over Everton. Wesley with the goal. It's such a weird name when you're Brazilian and you're just going by Wesley, but hey, that's okay. Anwar El Ghazi.
I mean, I'm American and just used to go by Wesley, so.
That's true, you did. Wesley. So Aston Villa gets the 2-0 win thanks to those two, with El Ghazi's goal coming in the 95th minute. Other matches, that was Friday Night Football. Saturday's matches included Chelsea coming from ahead to fall equal, then back ahead multiple times in the 3-2 win over Norwich. Guys, Norwich is going to do some things this year. They're going to play probably a lot of these kind of 3-2 games. But hey, a lot of fun there. Tammy Abraham with a brace. I believe that's his first for Chelsea. Cool. Mason Mount gets his second goal of the season. But Timo Pukki, Golden Boot winner.
Pukki!
The 2019-2020 season. That is Timo Pukki. He is on a rampage. He was the second equalizer for Norwich. But again, the second Abraham goal.
Real Madrid's Timo Pukki.
There you go. Was the difference there as Chelsea wins. West Ham gets a big win on the road against now struggling Watford. We can officially call them struggling now. 3-1 is the scoreline there. Mark Noble with a penalty just 3 minutes in, and then a late brace by Sebastian Haller gets the Hammers all 3 points there. Leicester beats Sheffield United 2-1. Again, Sheffield also putting forward a good effort, but just couldn't come up with the points at home. Jamie Vardy had his normal party, and Harvey Barnes also scored on the day for Leicester. Southampton beats Brighton and Hove 2-0. Nathan Redmond with a goal laid on in that one. And then, let's see, the Sunday matches. Wolves and Burnley drew 1-1. That was the latest goal of the day. And I've already told you guys a couple 90th-minute goals. Raul Jimenez with the 97th minute goal for Wolves. Oh, what a day to be a Wolves fan. They get a big win there. All right, let's start then going in reverse order, since those are the matches we're not really going to talk about. We'll start. We have, I guess, 4 that leaves us. We'll start then in reverse order with the match that was also taking place during Wolves-Burnley, and that was Newcastle versus Tottenham. Tottenham with the shock 1-0 loss against Newcastle. Joelinton, the summer signing for Newcastle, the big one coming in, he gets the goal in the 27th minute. Tottenham just not able to break down what was a very well-organized Newcastle defense on the day. Mike Dean, of course, doing Spurs no favors, as he is known to do with his track record now. Tottenham did have a bit of a penalty shout, but VAR confirmed that it wasn't, although Dean just said it was because he didn't see it, which is, I thought, what VAR was supposed to help with. Either way, still a deserved 3 points on the day for Newcastle, as they did more than enough to secure the points on the road. Big win for them, even with Tottenham getting 72% of the possession. But Wes, obviously the bigger stories coming out, not that there were stories necessarily, but just the general feeling coming out of Tottenham right now that they absolutely cannot wait for this transfer window to finally close through the rest of Europe, so that they can finally see who exactly is going to be on this team going forward.
Seriously, I mean, God, there's been more talk coming up about transfer windows and things around that over the past week. Oh, man, for the Premier League, it's been just one thing after another when it comes to the market closing early. I believe we really agreed with the Premier League's idea of closing the transfer market early.
It's a great idea.
I mean, and it's a fantastic idea all around. But the problem is, if no one else in Europe does it,
Yeah.
all it does is just put the Premier League behind an 8-ball.
Yeah.
So now the Premier League's sitting here, and they can't do anything but see guys leave, and there's nothing they can do to replace.
Sure.
So that's just been a bone of contention coming up again this week. They're getting, I know Klopp has weighed in on it. Some other managers are weighing in on it. Apparently, it is going to be brought up at the next Premier League meeting about to either continue forward on that or go back to the old system and try to get the rest of Europe to come on board. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really nice for a lot of the obvious reasons. It's really nice.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But just for the Premier League in general, it's really a catch-22. You look at some of the big names around England right now that are unsettled, and it is not doing a lot of teams very much good right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Tottenham right now going through it with potentially Christian Eriksen.
Right.
Still don't know if he's going. There's now news of Jan Vertonghen since he hasn't started any of the first three matches. What is his future? There was a little news today that Toby Alderweireld might be putting together a new contract for him. But again, we don't know. And we'll also have transfer news later on for a different team. But Tottenham right now just needing, and of course they will have a big test this coming up weekend. But right now, I think once they get settled in and know exactly who will be playing for them going forward, as well as, they just got back Son. They're just getting back Dele. And Ndombele didn't actually play in this match. He had picked up a little bit of an injury in training over the week. But it doesn't look like anything serious. So Tottenham did not look good on the weekend, but I think there should be a little bit of optimism going forward that once they know exactly what this team will be, things will start to bounce back to where we thought they were at the start of the season. But
and just Tottenham in general, right now Tottenham I think we're kind of everybody's pick to finish third. Mm-hmm. Man, Tottenham have not played well lately.
No.
And, when you look at it, it's crazy because I think that run to the Champions League final has really kind of, it's almost like masked some issues. Tottenham have only won 4 of their last 15 matches.
They've taken 15
They have not won an away
those.
match in the league since January.
Yep.
They're just. Let's say a couple of big moments in Europe have really kind of saved, I think, a lot of the narrative about Tottenham right now. Mm-hmm. Getting that late run because they felt okay about finishing 4th because you got the Champions League final, so that's okay. Mm-hmm. But right now, Tottenham have got to find some form. And they need to find it quick because it looks like at the top, it looks like, City and Liverpool aren't going to slow down. Mm-hmm. And if Tottenham want to stay in that race, they've got to start racking up some points. And they do not have an easy match this weekend coming up for them.
Absolutely. And I just think I think that has been the big story for the last however many months is just this team never seems like it's been able to actually get its best 11 on the field ever. And I think that's played a massive part of it. Harry Kane's been out a lot. Dele was out a lot. Son was in various tournaments over in Asia. And just with all and then, of course, picked up a random red card in the next last match of the season, so couldn't play the first 2 this season. So just, I think that's why I'm looking past Arsenal, is because after that, then the transfer window's closed. They'll know exactly what they have. And hopefully with everybody now coming back, everybody getting healthy, we'll start to see what Spurs really are. And maybe they can start to course correct a little bit and Pochettino can start kind of working around exactly who he has. And once, and if in December we're still looking at Tottenham like with the stick, the meme, come on, do something, then yes, it will be time to panic. I think while the trend is worrying, I want to see Tottenham at a more full strength before I hit that panic switch. So the Canary's not dead. It just smells a little funny in the mind.
Ed, are you dare say looking forward to the international break?
God, yes. God, for the first time ever.
Words that we do not utter on this show. Thank God the international break.
You're not kidding. Hey, team that probably doesn't want the international break to come or any break to come because they just keep putting on good performances. Manchester City, 3-run winners over Bournemouth. Bournemouth got a goal back after going down 2-0 early on, just before halftime, thanks to Harry Wilson. But Sergio Aguero gets a double in this one to put City on the right track. And of course, City just not really much to talk about with City right now. City just keeping on, and doing what they needed to do after the draw to Spurs, bouncing back from that one. And of course, the team that they are currently chasing, was our match of the week, was Liverpool-Arsenal on Saturday. Liverpool 3, Arsenal 1. Joel Martip. I've learned it from Arlo White. It's Martip. So
he's the only one I've ever heard say Martip. I'm a Matip person myself. So.
Yes, you are. It's very nice. Sounds French. Joel Matip with the goal there in the 41st minute got Liverpool going. Mo Salah with a penalty just after the second half restart, and then he picked up his second from open play, or Liverpool's second from open play, I should say, in the 58th. As Liverpool has done this season, they still did concede a goal late on. Lucas Torreira did pull one back, but way too late for Arsenal to mount a big enough comeback, although it did get almost dicey there right at the very end. They almost got a second with a few minutes to play that could have made it a little bit more interesting. Speaking of interesting, Arsenal did try some things tactically. They tried to make the pitch very narrow and put a bunch of bodies in the middle of the column of the park, I guess you would call it, and tried to really clog the midfield there. Worked for a while, and then it didn't because they're Arsenal and their defense is terrible. But obviously, Wes, a 3-1 win keeps Liverpool at the top of the Premier League. And even with the goal conceded, still just look like they're starting to really hit their form.
And really, Liverpool's not playing to the level they were at a season ago.
Not quite. It's a different level.
It is. And, part of that is obviously the missing Allison. I mean, that's a major part. Adrian's done a admirable job, don't get me wrong, but there's a reason that Alisson Becker is arguably the top goalkeeper in the world, and Adrian was a free agent until 3 days before the season started. So there's a reason for these things. For Liverpool, though, one difference that you're seeing this year compared to last year was last year the relatively slow start from the front three. Last year started with a lot of 1-0s.
Yes.
And the defensive solidity was there, and it was great. Don't get me wrong, that was awesome. And hopefully Liverpool will be able to get that back to go along with a firing front three. But, for Liverpool right now, when it comes to playing the other top teams in the league, there is nothing better on God's green earth than Arsenal at Anfield. If I can indulge. I thought I saved that picture and I didn't. But basically, the last 4 years that Arsenal have come to Anfield, I believe it's the last 4. Maybe it's ever since Klopp got there. It's been a string of 4-0, 4-1, 5-1s.
Yeah.
So for Arsenal, good job. You pegged them back to 3-1 this year. Still, Arsenal looked pretty good in the first half of that match. Nicolas Pepe had an opportunity that he didn't really take very well, that if he had, might have things moving in a different direction. But at the end of the day, David Luiz going David Luiz. And first he rips down Salah in the box, and then tries to blame Salah for wearing a bigger than usual shirt, according to him, saying that's why he was called for the penalty, because Salah's big shirt made it look like he was grabbing him. It's like, no, the fact that you basically molested him in the box made it look like you were grabbing him. So then he blamed the second goal where Salah turned and just absolutely dusted him in what is one of the early highlights of the season in the Premier League. He blamed that on the fact that he already had a yellow card, so he couldn't go in for a tackle.
I don't...
Damn it, one David.
I don't not buy that. I don't... It doesn't excuse the fact that he was in poor position to begin with, but
there you go.
I will understand the reasoning of why he didn't go in on Salah. I understand that.
Oh, yeah.
Poor positioning, though, led to that decision.
100% agree. So why are you putting yourself anywhere in that situation where you're that close? The only logical thing you can do is tackle him, but you can't tackle him.
Just stand in the 6-yard box and then play defense from there, man.
I mean, just, take a couple of steps back and don't get humiliated on worldwide television.
Yeah.
But like we said, David going David, that's what he does.
It's
the Louise way, 100% the Louise way. And for Liverpool, they cruised on home. A late goal from, I believe it was Lacazette?
No, Torreira.
Oh, Torreira, that's right. Torreira came on, got a late one. Inconsequential goal. And Liverpool looked strong. That's the thing. They look strong in doing it. Fortress Anfield's Fortress Anfield. I saw a nice stat. Andy Robertson has never lost a match at Anfield.
Yeah.
That he's played in. And it's now been, I believe, early 2017 now since Liverpool have lost a home match. So, I mean, we talked about Fortress Anfield, and it is very much there. And Arsenal, while I do believe Arsenal are a better team this year than they were last year, and I do believe, once Unai Emery kind of figures out exactly what he wants to do and figures out that he needs to play a front three with the three fantastic forwards that he has, I do believe Arsenal are going to be a better team this year. But right now, they're not on a Liverpool Man City level. This weekend just seems like, when we were talking about Tottenham, God, it just seems like a bad time for Tottenham to be playing them. Not that I don't think Tottenham's actually better than them, but Tottenham, just with all this stuff going on around Eriksen, just missing a few guys. It's going to be a difficult task, I think, for both teams this weekend. But I do think Arsenal improved, not anywhere near ready to challenge for a title, though.
No, not at all. And for our last match, a team that also does not look ready to challenge for a title, given the results of this one. Manchester United 1, Crystal Palace 2, reverse Fergie time in effect. I believe I may have heard this wrong, so if I did, I apologize. I believe I heard this is the first stoppage time winner at Old Trafford by a visiting opponent in Premier League history. Maybe I again could be very wrong on that statistic.
It may have been. I mean, it was bizarre from what we've seen from United, literally ever since we've been watching the Premier League.
Well,
and then for it to basically be De Gea again.
Yeah.
Crazy, man.
Yeah, and, for all, of course, not only that in the match, but after Daniel James looked like he had equalized, Daniel James equalized, but it actually could have been a potential winner, because after last week, when we talked about, Pogba shouldn't be taking penalties, it should be Rashford. Rashford's never missed. And then in the 70th minute, with a chance to equalize after Jordan Ayew's opener, Marcus Rashford proceeds to put a penalty right off the post. So,
I mean, it couldn't have been more perfectly choreographed.
Of course, the Premier League is scripted, don't you know? Patrick Van Aanholt, though, let's take nothing away from him. An absolute wonder goal in the 93rd minute to beat De Gea. Just a fantastic job there to be able to get that just under David De Gea. But yeah, and just in a way you wouldn't expect Palace to do it. Palace sitting with that 1-1 lead on the road, and you think, well, that should be it. They're just going to try to play it out, and instead they counter and get the winner. That just crazy. And I mean, what a, we kind of knew Tottenham was in maybe a little bit of a weird situation coming into the season with some of their players being unsettled and not really knowing if they're going to stay or go. And that's sort of happening right now with United. We just haven't talked as much about it. But they followed a very similar trajectory where it was like, hey, big win to open the season, then kind of a weird middle match, and now kind of a shock loss at home in week 3. And at United, and as we'll get to in news and notes, they do have some already done transfer news that we'll get to. But United, this team could either be very good, they could maybe they need the international break to come back and refocus, or this could be a potential powder keg situation that is starting to develop here.
I still think there's a great chance Solskjaer doesn't survive the season.
Yeah.
I mean, you say there's a chance we'll be very good. I don't see it, man. Not the way that team is built right now. They've let themselves absolutely no depth up front. I mean, you basically go from Marcus Rashford. Don't get me wrong, Rashford's a very good player and is an upward trajectory player, so should have a really good season. Mm-hmm. But you've got like a 19-year-old as his backup, Mason Greenwood.
Yeah.
I mean, any depth you had, you've sent to Inter Milan.
Yeah.
Either by sale or by the most bizarre loan maybe ever. But man, to me, still, it all starts at the back. David De Gea. Let's take a quick look. In 2017-2018, when De Gea was maybe considered the best goalkeeper in the world, had a 79.7% save percentage and had 0 errors that led to goals. In 2018-19 and thus far into this season, that save percentage is down to 68% and has 4 errors leading directly to goals.
Oof, that's.
He's gone to shit. I mean, he's gone straight up to shit. It's been bizarre. What's happening with him? It's just. I mean, it's been crazy, and. He has been the strength of Manchester United for so long now.
Oh, for sure.
And now to see him as almost like the anchor hanging around their neck.
Well, and also I think it's kind of funny too, because you have this world-class goalie who's been good for them for so long. And what have we always, not the only thing we've criticized United for in the past couple of years, but what's one of the big things? Their back four was terrible. Arsenal levels of bad. And then this summer, they finally bring in Maguire and Wan-Bissaka to kind of solidify that back four a little bit so that Chris Smalling isn't having to play. And now Daniel looks like shit. It's
well, that's it. Maguire and Wan-Bissaka haven't exactly been pulling up the trees. Harry Maguire, the worst thing that Maguire is ever going to have put on him is the fact that he's the world's most expensive defender, and immediately people are going to compare him to Virgil van Dijk.
Oh, yeah.
He is not anywhere on the level of Virgil van Dijk.
No.
It was just, he is a good defender who was on the market, and fortunately for the club that had him, they were in a position where they could sit there and they're like, no, this is what you're going to pay or you're not going to get him. And that's what they did. And finally, United came in and were like, shit, we need him, we'll pay the fee. But it's not, they're not getting the same kind of player that Liverpool got in Virgil van Dijk.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Harry Maguire's a good defender. I think, once again, with Maguire, the England premium and the fact that he had a good World Cup last year drove that up. And also, I mean, just the fact that, obviously we've talked about skyrocketing transfer fees anyway. And, I mean, just the fact that it kind of is what it is now. You look at transfer fees and it doesn't mean nearly as much really as it did 5 years ago. But unfortunately, I mean, that's being put out there on you. Wan-Bissaka has a high transfer fee. That's being put out there on him. I mean, they're good. They are good defenders, but neither one of those are world-class defenders. Sure. And unfortunately, when you cost that much coming in, people are expecting you to be a world-class defender. And especially when De Gea is not back there bailing you out like he was doing for other guys for years. it's going to come down on those guys eventually. They're either going to have to fix it, or this could implode in on United on that defensive part of the team.
Yeah, and again, unlike maybe you look at an Arsenal, and not that they're near this place either, but like a Liverpool, if they may have to their extent their defensive struggles, especially Arsenal, but they have three very talented offensive players leading the front line to put in goals. And again, as you said, as good as Marcus Rashford might one day be, as good as Anthony Martial can be on the day, it's just not at that same level. And that's United doesn't have that fallback right now. They have potentially one of the best players in the world in the midfield who just has never fully realized the magical nature he could have in the midfield for this United club, and may at this point never get it. So yeah, United are in a little bit of trouble, and I'm sure they're not going to be sad to see the international break coming either. We'll talk a little bit more about United in a little bit. As for now, let's get your match week 4 schedule on tap here. United right back out of the gate, 7:30 Saturday morning as they head over to the St. Mary's to take on Southampton. At 10 o'clock, you get the choice of Sheffield. That's it, Sheffield. Chelsea versus Sheffield. You also get Leicester versus Bournemouth, City versus Brighton and Hove, Newcastle versus Watford. West Ham will be taking on Norwich, and then Crystal Palace will be hosting Aston Villa. Then at 12:30 at Turf Moor, always a wonderful place to play, Burnley will be getting their crack at Liverpool. On Sunday at 9 a.m. you get Everton versus Wolves, and 11:30 you get the North London Derby Part 1 for this season as Arsenal hosts Tottenham at the Emirates. So that will be this match week coming up, and then we'll be hitting the international breakage. As we look at the table, as the Premier League stands right now, Liverpool do top it with 9 points, followed by City with 7, Arsenal with 6, and Leicester with 5, and then a whole bunch of teams are at 4 points right now. Most of the Premier League is at 4 points. Sitting on 3 points is Wolves, Villa, Norwich, and then Southampton and Newcastle, and Watford. Watford still yet to get on the board. They are at 0 points, the only club with no points, and one of only 2 clubs without a win. Wolves have actually drawn all 3 matches. They are the anti-last year Tottenham. They can't stop drawing. But that is your Premier League table. Hey, I mentioned the League Cup took place this week, the second round. Yay, that's awesome. Hey, Crawley Town beat Norwich, so that was an upset there for a Premier League team going down. Don't know many other Premier League teams that actually lost, though. Bournemouth went to penalties against Forest Green Rovers, so there's that. Burnley actually lost 3-1 to Sunderland at home, so that's not good. Leicester got past Newcastle in a Premier League tilt on penalties of 4-2 after playing to a 1-1 draw. And yeah, that's your Premier League team. So matches coming up here in the third round as everybody's now in. Arsenal gets Nottingham Forest at home. Chelsea gets either Grimsby Town or Macclesfield Town, Wes's home base for a little while. They'll be heading over to Chelsea to see how they can do. Tottenham draws Colchester United. They'll be heading over there in September. Liverpool goes to the Dons. Oh, MK Dons. They beat United a couple years ago. They'll look to replete the favor against Liverpool. United will be at home against Rockdale, and City will be traveling to Preston North End. I'm looking for a Premier League on Premier League tilt, and the only one that will be in this round is Brighton and Hove versus Aston Villa. But Wes, it's the magic of the League Cup.
You mean for once, Liverpool didn't draw like Real Madrid of 3 years ago in their first match of the League Cup?
Yeah, they didn't get Chelsea. Isn't that great?
God almighty. Shocker.
Oh.
Winning at Chelsea or City or something. So.
Yeah. Hey, you got MK Dons, so
Think it'll be all right. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see.
That's true. You never know. So those matches do not have dates yet. They will be played, though, in September. So those are coming up here in a couple weeks. Also, Champions League is done as far as the playoffs to get into the group stage for those last couple spots. Dynamo Zagreb, they beat Rosenborg 3-1 on aggregate. Slavia Prague defeats CFR Cluj 2-0 on aggregate. Oh, the young boys. The young boys will not be gracing us with their presence this year as they drop 3-3 on away goals to Red Star Belgrade. And Ajax, they're back in it. They get the 2-0 win over APOEL. Club Brugge gets the 3-1 win over Lask. And Olympiakos, the Greek side, beats Krasnodar 6-1 on aggregate. So, your top two pots. Pot 1, Liverpool, Chelsea, Barcelona, City, Juventus, Bayern, PSG, and Zenit. And in pot 2, Real, Atletico, Borussia Dortmund, Napoli, Shakhtar, Tottenham, Ajax, and Benfica. Some notable teams, I guess, in the next two pots include Inter in pot 3, Lyon's also in part 3, and Leipzig, Red Bull Leipzig, they're in pot 4. So Wes, any thoughts about the draw before it happens this Friday? Any groups of death you're looking to avoid or maybe be a part of to bring over to Fortress Anfield just by how the pot distribution worked out here?
Well, I think out of obviously pot 1 and pot 2 are what they are. You know, everyone wants to get Locomotive.
Yes.
Was it Locomotive?
Zenit.
Yeah. I couldn't remember. I didn't have it in front of me. I knew it was one of the Moscows. You know, that's the one everybody kind of wants to end up in. I believe Shakhtar's in pot 2, so that's the one you want to get there, obviously. Out of pot 3, Inter could be really good this year. So that would be the one I think everybody will avoid out of pot 3. And looking at in pot 4, I mean, RB Leipzig.
Yeah.
They're still a good quality German team. You know, I think a lot of people expected more out of Leipzig last season, but that was their first time in the Champions League. So this year they're back, got a little experience under their belt. We'll see what they can do. But I think other than that, I don't think anyone's too terrified of anything. No, let's say you don't want Inter basically to be your third team. You know, Chelsea is definitely not an overly strong pot 1 team. So really, I mean, if you can come out with Zenit or Chelsea out of pot 1, you're not, you know, you've got to feel pretty good about yourself, especially if you're like Inter. Like we're just saying, you know, if Inter ends up in one of those two groups, they're going to feel pretty good about going forward. You know, pot 2 just looks really strong. Yeah. You know, I mean, when you've got that group of teams in there, pot 2 is really strong. And, of course, you know, overall, just some throughout, I mean, 3 English teams in pot 1.
Yeah.
So, you know, that does, you know, for Tottenham, it's a good thing for Tottenham, you know, because it does make it a little closer to get potentially end up over there with Zenit.
20% chance, baby. Here we go.
Yeah, I mean, so, you know, it's a higher one for them. And, of course, you've got some of the usual suspects in pot 1. Of course, you bring back Liverpool, who are now the 6-time champions of Europe. Didn't know if I'd mentioned that any time recently, but the 6-time champions of Europe, the defending Champions League winners. Liverpool kind of lead the way, Barcelona in there, you know, Bayern, some of those usual suspects, Manchester City. So, you know, really with these draws, it's hard to talk about them. God, the English press just loves this. Oh, Liverpool could get the group of death. Oh, Man City could get the group of death. Well, you know what? Last year, Liverpool got the group of death, and you know what? They were the killers.
Yes.
You know, so I just, personally, for my team, I don't give a shit who you give us. I mean, you know, the way Fortress Anfield works is give us 9 points for the home matches, and then all we got to do is go win an away match, and we're going through. So I'm not too worried for whatever draw. I wouldn't be too worried for City. their draw. Now I'm sure for Tottenham, there's only one group they can end up in here. And, with Tottenham's luck, it's going to be, Barcelona, Inter Milan, and RB Leipzig.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because, why not?
Yeah.
Why not for Tottenham? That's just how it always kind of seems to fall for them. But you know what? They made it out of a tough-ass group last year. They made it out of a tough-ass group the year before. Yeah. Tottenham's battle-tested when it comes to the group stages. And now they're battle-tested when it comes to the knockout round. Yeah. So, really, for the English clubs, potentially other than Chelsea, we'll have to see kind of what Chelsea draw out of this group or out of this pot. But, for City, Liverpool, Tottenham, they should all feel very confident whatever that draw ends up being for them.
Absolutely, and we'll see. I'm sure Chelsea will get Benfica, Zagreb, and Red Star probably. So,
jump for a Red Star now.
That's true. That's a fair point.
Tell you about Red Star.
That's a fair point. We have talked about Red Star on this podcast before. But that is it. So again, that draw will be this Friday, the 29th at 18 Central European Standard Time, which
noon.
All right. So
is it noon? Is it noon Eastern Time, I believe?
I think that's noon Eastern Time, yes.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there'll be a very interesting stream UEFA puts forward with some very interesting music as we wait. So that's always a lot of fun.
The ceremony.
So now we hit the news and notes, and we have to start with what is some pretty sad news. Bury has been expelled from the Football League. That actually just came through today. This is something that's been building for a couple weeks, but they are leaving after 125 years of membership. This article coming from Sky Sports. They will be leaving League One after the FA was basically shown that the ownership group that was in charge of Bury was not going to be able to keep them financially stable moving forward. We've had talk of players not getting paid playing for Bury, and as the EFL statement reads, the board met earlier this evening after long and detailed discussion, determined that Bury FC's membership of the English Football League will be withdrawn after the deadline passed at 5 p.m. today without a successful resolution from trying to get a new ownership group in. Quote, despite repeated requests to its owner, Mr. Dale, over a sustained period of time, the necessary evidence in respect of how the club would meet its financial commitments has simply not been provided, and as a result, attention's turned to securing new ownership at the club. Now, Wes, we've heard there was another club that started with a B that I can't think of at the moment.
Bolton.
Yes, Bolton, that was also in trouble.
They've got 2 weeks to get theirs sorted out.
So we could be seeing this sort of happening again. Bury have actually not played a match this season because of the events coming out of the club. And, we've heard, Wes, a little bit about how bad sometimes things are with groups like Newcastle and Mike Ashley and some of the ownerships of groups in the Premier League. But this is what happening at Bury right now is just is so much worse with players not getting paid. And whatnot. But this is I know this has been devastating for the locals who support this club and who love this club, and to see them now get eliminated from the Football League with their membership has got to be tough. And as far as I can remember, is not something I've seen. I know there's been talk of it with other clubs, but as far as I can remember in my time since starting to follow the Premier League, I can't remember something like this happening.
And it hasn't. The last time it happened was 1990. So this is something that has not happened in an extremely long time. For Bury, this is a club that's been around for over 100 years.
2-time FA Cup winner.
And those were the very early. I believe everyone remembers the thrilling 1919 3 FA Cup finals of it.
Yes.
But these are very long-standing clubs. There was an interview done with a gentleman who I believe he's in like his late 70s.
Yes.
And he was just distraught. He said, I've been going to these matches it's been 66 years I've been going to these matches. I don't know what I'm going to do. Like as much as, I mean, it's just like if something suddenly happened and Liverpool Football Club went away. I mean, there would be just an entire, yes, there'd be devastated fans around the world, but really when you get like into the cities and these people who grew up and this was, I mean, it's like us growing up as Boston Red Sox fans or, whoever our college team may be, mine, East Carolina, yours. I can't keep up with you. Well, let's say Virginia baseball.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just suddenly they're gone. And it's like, wait a minute, what am I going to do now? This is what I know. This is who I love, and they're gone. And it's horribly unfortunate. And I mean, it's something that in the modern day age here in the United States, especially in the major sports, we don't see. Mm-hmm. But of course, we don't so much deal with the lower leagues here like they do in England and around Europe with the football. So, I mean, there have been teams around the United States that have gone out of business, but for this to happen, I mean, it's devastating for that town, for that region, for that fan base.
Bury Captain Neil Dans had some quotes. When asked by TalkSport what he would tell the owner, Steve Dale, he would say, I would say, look what you've done. This should never have happened. If you thought you could not move this club forward in a positive way, you should never have taken over because you've literally destroyed lives, because that's what this football club meant to so many fans. And I think it's right. It's just, you see these pictures, you watch these videos of just the pain that these Bury fans are feeling is just tragic. They will not be in the FA Cup either. Go ahead.
Yeah, there was also some outrage towards Sky Sports for maybe poor taste from something Sky did where
they had a countdown.
They literally had a countdown camera.
Yeah.
And it's like 52 minutes until it's like, guys, this is kind of shit. I understand, you're pushing the news cycle and everything, but you're looking at something where, say you work for Bury. Mm-hmm. You work, your job, your full-time job is, you're a groundskeeper there or something. Mm-hmm. And you're looking on the news and it's like, oh, I'm losing my job in 2 minutes. Thanks, assholes.
Yeah.
So it was somewhat in poor taste, but I mean, that's just kind of how the news cycle runs now. But, it's really tough. I mean, especially when you sit and really think about it, it's like, well, not only are they losing a team, I mean, these are people who are losing their livelihood.
Yeah.
And it's not so much. Yeah, I mean, some of the players, obviously, but I mean, it's not so much even the players or the on the field staff. Like we said, it's the groundskeepers. Mm-hmm. It's the it's the ladies who serve lunch, or as they do in Britain, the tea ladies. It's these people they're the support people. The equipment manager, the people who live in that community, and they're not relocating to go to another club or anything. For them, it's just, hey, this is my job. This is where I get up and go to work every day. This is where I feed my family.
Right.
And suddenly, like you said, this owner, he destroyed this football. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's a lot more to that than just the product on the field at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate that this has happened. And so hopefully the same thing does not befall Bolton in a couple weeks. But we will have to see about that. But Bury has been expelled from the Football League. All right, so I was going to make a joke, but I'm not going to do it in poor taste, so I'm not going to do that. So, segue on to the deal we talked about earlier happening with Manchester United, doing another deal with Inter. They sold Romelu Lukaku to them, and now it looks like they have sent Alexis Sanchez on loan to Inter as well. So I said it's a very odd loan, which I believe also has like a sort of like an option to buy at the end.
Well, that's the thing. I don't think there's an option to buy. I don't think there's any buy in this.
Maybe I wrote that wrong.
Yeah, it's just we're loaning them out just to get them out.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's just a straight up loan.
Option to buy, so.
It's a straight up loan where Inter's paying a little less than half the salary. So.
I mean, for Inter, it's freaking win-win. Hey, if he comes in and sucks, all right, I mean, we'll bench him. It sucks. We'll lose some money on it, but hey, we're sending him back next year anyway. For United, they're still paying the money on him. I mean, who in their right mind's buying Alexis Sanchez at this point?
Well, it's just such a weird story.
The biggest thing for Alexis, this is his chance to kind of put himself in a shop window and be like, hey, I can still play.
Yeah.
But the problem is, God, all the money they're paying, nobody's going to take.
No, it's so weird because
good job, United.
Of course, just really poor business, I think, by United from both the Lukaku deals and the Sanchez deals. I mean, these are two players who were brought in to do big things for United, and I think, especially with Sanchez, maybe a little less so with Lukaku, but definitely to an extent him as well. Both of them were colossal failures at United. And to see them now both go to Inter, and for not that much, especially in Sanchez's case, especially with him, with United still on the hook for half his salary this year, it's just so weird. And I just, you got to think at some point United's going to figure this out, right? At some point they're gonna have a director of football who doesn't do dumb shit like this. But I just. Good for Inter.
No. I support United in everything right now. Keep up the good work. You know what, Glazers? Give that man another ring. Well, he deserves all the money at this.
Well, we talked about the Champions League draw, and we talked about Inter maybe being a dangerous team. Unfortunately, I think what has to happen is for the script for this Champions League season is Inter's going to have to fall out of the Champions League, finish third, go into Europa, and is going to have to get matched up with United in the knockout stages.
That'd be glorious.
There you go. That is what it is.
So glorious.
So Sanchez can fuck United over one more time.
Oh, great. Oh man, it'd be great if if they ended up playing Inter and Lukaku and Sanchez just went off.
One can dream. One can dream. So our final story and the news and notes, because we just do a U.S. women's story every week now. Hey, Carly Lloyd. She can kick field goals. Maybe she'll get an NFL contract. Bleacher Report has a little video of her doing some kicking. And maybe she'll do that. Why she would debase herself by going to an inferior sport like football, I don't know. But hey, good for her.
The only word for that is money. But
that's true.
I would gladly take an NFL minimum contract, and she would get more than a minimum contract. So.
That's true. Pretty cool though to see her be able to do that. I mean, I certainly wouldn't be able to kick a 55-yard field goal. So good for Carly Lloyd. It's pretty dope. Go check it out. The video's on her Twitter feed too.
She's just opening the door for Harry Kane is all it is.
Oh, can you imagine a Super Bowl that I definitely would not watch, but where the both field goal kickers on the opposing sides are Harry Kane and Carly Lloyd? Oh
my goodness!
What a world.
We would watch that Super Bowl just for the kids.
Yeah, Patriots versus Eagles, the rematch. Harry Kane for the Patriots.
And then if you just so happen to get the kicks to play the halftime show, that's asking a lot.
Ooh, I like it though. I like it a lot.
I'm hip.
Oh, so hip.
I'm hip to it, kids.
That's what we found out in that music podcast we did that one time. Hip for 1998. So Wes, let's hit the watch for now that we're done with the news and notes. Wes, what have you been watching in the week that was or the week that will be?
Folks are really going to hate me at the back end podcast. I can really not. The only thing I've watched in the last.
What's that?
Since finishing the Summer of Marvel. I really hate uttering what I'm about to utter out loud because it just makes me feel horrible about myself. I watched the MTV Music Video Awards at work the other night.
Dude, I didn't even know those were on until I saw about them the next day. I didn't even know.
The only reason we watched it is because, we watch a lot of MTV between 1 and 6 a.m. at work.
That's fair.
When I'm working nights. Mm-hmm. Because you're either going to watch a shit ton of ridiculous, which is basically the best show on TV, by the way. I mean, Rob Dyrdek is the greatest thing that's happened in TV in like 20 years. He is amazing. And that show is hilarious. Or we watch like Catfish Marathons, which is the most cringe-inducing, magnificent show of all time.
Yeah, it's bad.
I mean, you want to talk about some uncomfortable shit, you watch Catfish. So anyway, for like the last 2 months, they've been popping. And they keep playing that Billie Eilish song, the Bad Guy song that I just love. Just love it. It's great. So we decided, okay, we're going to watch it so we can watch tape. And so I watched that the other night, and it was okay at times. As you know, I'm not really big on the current music scene.
Shocking. Yes.
Needless to say, after this show, I'm
still
quite comfortable with that. I'm quite comfortable with the fact that I'm not big on the current music. Yeah. But I really hate to tell you, folks, that is pretty much all I've watched because I worked and, I worked all weekend. I was back on the nights. Mm-hmm. I've been dealing with football. Mm-hmm. I watched the Hurricanes play the other night.
I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, that kind of sucked at the end of it. But, I just really haven't had the chance to watch much of anything this week since the summer of Marvel. Just haven't had much to watch. Now, that said, hold on. We do have, like, some movie news. They have announced the release date of Black Panther 2.
Woo! Black Panther 2.
Which is going to be 2 days before my birthday in 2022?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so we've got plenty of time to hype that. We'll start now. Mm-hmm. Black Panther 2, May 6, 2022. It's dropping, bitches. Mm-hmm. You'll probably only hear it here. You know Marvel, they're not really promoting stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't read it. I don't know if you saw anything. Have you seen something about Tom Holland saying that Far From Home is going to like work into the next Sony Spider-Man movie?
All I remember him saying is that he's going to be still playing Spider-Man. So, I don't know.
Okay, that's a good start, I guess.
Yeah.
We can start from there because I really like Tom Spider-Man.
Me too. Yeah.
I really didn't want to see Tobey Maguire go back to being Spider-Man.
No. Or
Andrew
Garfield.
No. Yeah, I like Andrew Garfield and other things, but as Spider-Man, I don't know. It seems like something else happened, but I really can't remember what it was.
Well, D23 was this weekend.
That was it. D23.
Yep, and that is the big Disney thing where they did announce things like you mentioned the Black Panther news. Mm-hmm. There was a couple other things. There was the first look at Emma Stone in Cruella de Vil, the live action movie there. That was pretty interesting. It looks
did they do something for like the Eternals or something?
I want to say they did. I just don't remember what it was. Evan Rachel Wood is going to be in Frozen 2 along with Sterling K. Brown. I do like Sterling K. Brown. Very good actor.
Very good.
Onward.
Loved his episode of...
so good.
One of the most epic of all time.
Quite. They talked about Onward, which I'm kind of interested in. Speaking of Tom Holland, will be in this movie along with Chris Pratt. So Star-Lord and Spider-Man going on weird animated adventures. That'll be fun. You have anything else? The Cruella, the Black Panther, Star Wars stuff. And they talked about apparently, I don't remember if it was at D23 or if it was at Comic-Con. I think it was actually at D23. Oh, we'll get to that. WandaVision got like a trailer, or not a trailer, but like a teaser trailer, where it was like clips of the Dick Van Dyke Show intercut with footage of Wanda and Vision from the Avengers movies.
Interesting.
So, I mean, we've seen some of the artwork. It looks very 1950s. But to actually like intercut episodes of the Dick Van Dyke Show in there, very interesting. Also, so this was other big news coming to Disney Plus, and these I believe are TV series. She-Hulk is coming. Miss Marvel is coming. And that is Kamala Khan. Miss Marvel is coming, and Moon Knight. bitches. Which means Dracula be coming. This is how they're bringing in Blade, apparently. So Moon Knight is very interesting. Moon Knight's a fucked up individual. The weird thing is, it was also announced that Disney Plus will not have any R-rated content. I know some people kind of freaked out that maybe that means Deadpool would not be R-rated going forward. That will be... They also said that they would be, because Disney owns Hulu, or at least the majority share, that anything that needs to be R-rated just goes over to Hulu. Just live over there. So I think when they said when they eventually get Logan up, Logan will go to Hulu. And then Deadpool will go... Instead of that being on Disney Plus, it'll be over on Hulu, so it can stay rated R. So that's
speaking of something fucked up individual. The final trailer for Joker dropped.
Yeah.
Holy shit balls!
I actually still haven't watched it, but
yeah, I'm so down for Joker. And people are trying to say, "Oh, see, DC does real shit." It's like, wait a minute, this is like. I'm guessing everything points to like this is separate from like everything going on in your universe.
Yes.
I mean, this is just kind of like a standalone movie.
But there's been talks that they're making a Jared Leto standalone Joker, like Joker and Harley Quinn movie.
Oh, which would just be yeah, Jared Leto just, God, when you compare him now to like
he's damaged.
The other big screen Jokers at this point, you know, Nicholson and Ledger and what it looks like Phoenix is going to give us. God, Jared Leto's bad.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like terrible. Well, you know, the new Harley Quinn movie's dropping in like February.
Yeah, Harley Quinn and the Blackbirds or something.
The Fantabulous Emancipation of Harley Quinn, something like that?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
That's actually what it's called. But yeah, it's gonna be Harley Quinn, and yeah, it's bringing in like you said, like the Blackbirds.
Yeah.
Kind of like that group of females. But I mean, this looks really good. But what I've also seen is like, you know, this could lead to being kind of like the backstory of the Joker, and them saying that, like, you know, kind of like Batman has said, it could be Batman. Anyone could be the Joker. So, you know, it might not be Joaquin Phoenix going forward, but it could be the next guy jumping off of this or something.
Right.
So that could be an interesting wrinkle.
Yeah, well, you know, Phoenix.
But I don't trust DC to do it right. So.
Well, see, I don't trust their universe.
Right.
Besides, like, Wonder Woman.
I'll trust her with anything.
But
I would literally give her my pin number right now if she needed it.
Hey, but Nolan's Batman movies are really good. So maybe if it's just not a DC Universe movie that just happens to have DC people in it, it'll be good. My last little thing for Watch 4 that comes from D23. This was a bit crazy. They're doing a Clone Wars continuation from Star Wars on the Disney Plus. What had not been announced until this weekend was Ewan McGregor is coming back as Obi-Wan Kenobi to do it. So, hey, this was a role that pretty much destroyed him for like 5 or 6 years in Hollywood. So good on you, Ewan, for coming back to it. Good on you. So,
and that check must be nice, bro.
I'm sure it is.
Blood fan. What you make on that check, blood?
Terrific singer. Can't wait to hear Obi-Wan sing some more. And also, just to wrap it up, the Watch 4, I've gone back and started. It just kind of happened by happenstance because it kept popping up on Hulu as like, hey, you should watch this, even though you already have. You should just watch it again. Was Community. And so one night I just was like, all right, I'll just watch like the first 2 episodes. I guess I got nothing else I really want to watch, so I'll just watch the first 2. And over the last week, I've been just watching like an episode or 2 every night before bed. I'm like, man, this show is really good. This show is really friggin' good. Oh, that show's great. It's a really good show.
That made me think, me and Callie were riding tonight to go eat dinner. She had her iPad out. And she was just hitting different videos, and the next hour was bye, little pasture. And she loves that song, by the way. It's like one of her favorites.
Should be. It's a great song. Great.
So, of course, I started singing, Phil Coutinho.
Oh, yeah.
Which is the greatest song ever made.
Oh, it truly is. It's how do you make a song twice as good as 5,000 Candles in the Wind?
You sing about Philip Coutinho leaving Liverpool. We almost need to do a remix since he's already in Barcelona.
That's true. That song doesn't even work anymore.
No, because no one gives a shit that he's gone from Barcelona.
It's true. It's damn true. Speaking of damn true, Wes, what is the minor amount of WWE news you have this week?
I've got a couple. Well, hey, I tell you what. I've got a story from both federations.
Ooh. Okay.
This is definitely so Elite Raw.
Nice.
I have stories from both. WWE's is an off-screen one. I do not believe that I said this a week or so ago, but Harley Race passed away. Did I mention that?
No, you did not.
Okay. Harley Race passed away. Harley Race, one of the legendary greats, 70s and the 80s, former NWA World Champion, was the man who stood across from Ric Flair in the great cage match at the Greensboro Coliseum, brought to conclusion the Flair for Gold. Harley Race is one of the all-time greats, one of the true tough guys in wrestling history. I want to say he was like the 3-time NWA champion when that really, really meant something back in the, let's say, 70s and 80s. I like really now the wrestling podcasts are more like nostalgia ones. And when guys start talking about Harley Race, it's like reverence when they talk about Harley Race. Part of it was because I think they're terrified he could still beat the shit out of them all these years later. But, Harley Race did pass away. He'd been battling a lot of health problems over the last few years. That was one, losing the king, Harley Race. So to a much nicer WWE story, in this world, we have power couples.
Yes.
Just take a quick look.
Triple H and Stephanie.
Triple H and Stephanie. We have Mia Hamm and Nomar Garcia Parra. That's a power couple. Those kids are going to be stoked.
Mm-hmm.
We got Posh and Bex.
Got A-Rod and J-Lo.
A-Rod and God. We got Kim and Kanye.
There you go.
Okay, we're going to move on now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But how much more of a power you get than the current Universal Champion and the Raw Women's Champion? That's right, folks. We've got one going down the aisle because Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch are getting hitched.
Oh, my.
Oh, my is right. And, I'm really hoping that they can title till whenever they get married so they can both walk down the aisle wearing their belts. That's kind of my dream of their wedding. I don't know if they've thought about that, but that's what I've thought about.
Twighten ups.
So I think that'd be awesome. So, that is kind of a cool out-of-the-ring story. I don't think they've been dating really that long. But apparently one of them popped the question of the other one. You got, Seth's the champ, but Becky's the man.
There you go. That's true.
So I'm not, in this day and age especially, I'm not going to assume who did what.
There you go. It's fair.
Because we don't need protests against our show for assuming. So congratulations to those two. And now for a little AEW story. I don't believe I mentioned this last week, but as we kind of know, Jim Ross is going to be the play-by-play voice for AEW. We've known that. That's been in the works for a while. Well, they have now hired his second, and they have hired former WCW announcer Tony Schiavone. And Ed, what this means is that basically Conrad Thompson, who we've mentioned before on here, Conrad Thompson is the greatest resurrector of careers known to man. At this point, Conrad Thompson produces 4 podcasts a week. And for 3 of them, when they started their podcast with him, they were literally all out of wrestling. And then they just started the Jim Ross podcast, and now Jim Ross, of course, is going to be the play-by-play guy for AEW. But Tony Schiavone is now on his way to AEW. He's been out of wrestling for like 20 years. Like since WCW closed, he's been out of wrestling. I think in the last year or so, he started doing some stuff with like MLW. Eric Bischoff now runs SmackDown, and Bruce Pritchard is back in a huge role in WWE. I mean, so Conrad Thompson is basically like has a Jesus syndrome, where he raises people from the wrestling dead. So, needless to say, hey Conrad, if you could come and like help us with this show, I think I would love to get into the wrestling business and make some big cash. So, yeah. But anyway, yeah. So Tony Schiavone going up. Just the fact Conrad Thompson's amazing. Nice. If you do like those those good nostalgic wrestling shows and going back and everything, 83 Weeks with Eric Bischoff. What Happened When with Tony Schiavone. Jim Ross's podcast, and of course, Something to Bruce Pritchard. They're all just great. Just great.
Nice.
So now we hit Conrad Thompson. He can always come back if he. So anyway, that's your So Elite Raw this week.
Nice. Well, that's our So Elite Raw. A little more than even you guys might have been expecting at the beginning, but we still dropping some knowledge on you here.
Luckily, hopefully, you people at home have come much from me.
There you go. So that is going to do it for
If you don't expect much, I can't let you down.
It's true. Set the bar very low, people. It's just like Manchester United fans. Episode 277 is in the books. I got him again. And we're gonna be stepping out of here in just a few minutes. Once again, want to thank our providers, including NGSC Sports and Alicia's Pills and Things. You can find them on the social media as well as us on Twitter. As a collective, we are at AFA Pod. Wes, you are.
I'm at Wes Bradshaw 21.
I'm at Edward Green. You can find us also on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube via our parent show, The All News Sports Show. And you can email us at allnewsportshow@gmail.com. Big thanks to our podcast providers, including Podbean.com, Stitcher, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, the TuneIn Radio app, Google Play Music, and the iTunes Music Store. So I believe we'll be back next week. Live or no?
No, next week's a work week,
okay.
So you'll get Infield Corner next week, and then we'll go into the international break.
Hooray! Anfield Corner going into the international break.
Huzzah! Huzzah!
That's what we're saying in the right part of North London right now. So that is going to do it for this episode, as we said. But again, big weekend of Premier League matches coming up this weekend, including the North London Derby as Tottenham heads over to Arsenal, and of course we'll be talking about that, or I'll be recapping that on next week's pod, and of course, as Wes mentioned, we'll be getting some Anfield Corner as well. But Wes, before we get out of here, is there anything else you'd like to add?
A few things. College football, this will be the first full college football weekend.
Yes.
Last weekend there were a smattering of games. Of course, that Miami-Florida matchup last Saturday night was turned to be a really good game. Miami should have freaking won and blew it. Good ball game, but that was kind of the big kickoff match for the season. This week, just about everybody's in action. The big one for me, East Carolina going back to the scene of the last hate crime that we were a part of, where NC State just beat us and beat us and beat us and beat us. The Mike Houston era kicks off, and I don't think NC State's just going to beat on us again. We'll see if we can go get a little revenge on the Wolfpack. I'm not expecting to walk out of Raleigh with a win, but a little more dignity than we had the last time. But other than that, man, just college football is in the wind this week. I'm loving it. High school football, I'll give you an update. Hey, Ed.
Yeah.
Who do we hate more than anything in the whole world in high school football?
The NCHSAA?
Yes. Nice. So just riddle me this.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to give you the scenario.
All right.
So, Tarboro 6, Rocky Mountain nothing. About 2.5 minutes remaining in the second quarter of their season opening game. And in come the torrential rains. Torrential rains. Very good football game, by the way. It was shaping up to be one of the done, which you would assume.
Yes.
Well, just the way the schedules are bouncing, the way the weather was last week, there's nowhere to make up that game. So they have to call it.
Mm-hmm.
So you're thinking, we're in the second quarter. It's 6-0. They'll just throw this game out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no. Somehow Tarboro wins and Rocky Mountain loses.
Wait, what?
Yes, Tarboro is now 1-0 in the season. Rocky Mountain, as they did not get to halftime of the first game.
I'm sorry, what?
Exactly.
Wait, what?
You heard. You heard. Your boy just said it. Rocky Mountain is 0-1 after trailing 6-0 late in the second quarter and the game being called. Yeah.
What?
Can't figure this one out for nothing. And you know me. I mean, I love Tarboro. We love Tarboro. Love Tarboro. If this had been the other way around, I'd be like, how the hell?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's insanity to me. But damn it, I'm going to tell you, man, it was a heck of a football game going on. I will say that much for it. It was living up to the billing.
Oh, man.
Rocky Mount dropped a touchdown pass, wide open touchdown pass in the end zone in the first quarter that should have put them up.
Uh-huh.
It was on a fourth down. It was beautiful. I've not seen Tarboro get beat that bad on a play in years.
Oof.
And the receiver literally just dropped it. He was too open and had too much room and too much time. So, but Rocky Mount spent nearly the entire first quarter in Tarboro territory, just unable to ever punch it in. And Tarboro did not get their big plays. Their touchdown came off a turnover in Rocky Mount territory. Yeah. There was a turnover down there. They had punted, and then Rocky Mount fumbled, and Tarboro got back and went in and scored. But Tarboro was not getting their big runs off. So both those teams look pretty freaking strong.
Well, damn.
Anyway, as you folks are listening, on Thursday, I am preparing for my game tonight, being Thursday night. Yes. Thursday night football, with it being the holiday weekend. Southern Nash and Nash Central, a pair of 1-0 teams. Southern Nash has another division. This one, quick and coolly, committed to Wake Forest.
Oh, nice.
So it does go to show you last year when they had an in-state and a Wake Forest running back and still couldn't get out of the second round.
Yeah.
No son.
Huh.
Yeah, that's it for me this week.
So I just, as one wants to do, I went to the NCHSAA website, and I went to their football section, and I scrolled down the page, and I found a link that says 2019-20 NCHSAA Handbook, Football Rules and Regulations, because I wanted to see what the official rule was.
Okay,
for like weather, yeah.
I don't do things like this. So.
No, I know. I'm not seeing it.
Not seeing where there's a rule.
There's a suspended game rule in section 2.2.8, but because this link literally only has the page from the handbook that pertains solely to football, it's not in here.
No doubt.
It's not in here. You fucking clowns. Oh my
clowns.
Oh my god, you fucking clowns. So on that note,
by the way, just to let you know, you have been greenlit for a game this year.
Ooh.
If you are so inclined.
Ooh.
If you're so inclined.
Ooh.
I may have an opening for you.
That's how game one went, huh?
Here we go. No.
Oh, okay.
I will get to my color commentator Kenneth Fly this year. He did a very being his first televised game. I thought he did a very good job.
Great.
Others have done before. But I know 1 week he may not be there.
Gotcha. Okay, that's that.
So.
Gotcha. All right. Well, we will catch you guys up on that later. Until then, and until next we talk, everyone. My name is Edward Green. That was Wes Bradshaw, and thanks so much for joining us here on the Foreign Affair Podcast. Until next time, everyone, stay safe and enjoy the football. And please, son, just come out of your house. It's okay. Whatever your agent tells you, it's gonna be okay. You'll get your loan move one day. Don't worry.
Just want to say, good night, North London. You guys got your derby this weekend.
That's true. It's true, we do.
This show show is sponsored by Alicia's Pillows and Things. Check out the Facebook page, Alicia's Pillows and Things, where you will find home decor you will not be able to resist at prices anybody can afford. Check out the pillows and stools of your favorite sports teams. Maybe you want a set of your kid's favorite cartoon or movie character. You can also get full body and neck pillows as well. Log on to ngscsports.com and go to the Alicia's Pillows and Things tab on the homepage to complete your order. It makes a great gift for Christmas at an affordable price. NGSC Sports. We never stop.
You're listening to NGSC Sports Radio. Hear us live on ngscsports.com, where you can get awesome analysis for all things sport. Or check out our podcasts on iHeartRadio, Spreaker, iTunes, TuneIn, and much more. For our latest videos, head to NGSC Sports YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter at NGSC Sports and like us on Facebook. NGSC Sports. We never stop.